Peah, Perek Chet, Mishnah Vav. Let's just bring this up a little bit. Perek Chet, Mishnah Vav. So until now, in the past Mishnah, we have been learning about the idea that there's a minimum amount that you can give to the aniyim, that you have to give to the aniyim. Ein pochatin la'aniyim bagoren. That you're not allowed to give the aniyim less in the goren. So the Mishnah is continuing with a phrase that's a little bit cryptic, that's going to be interpreted in different ways by different Rishonim. Says the Mishnah, Mida zo amra b'kohanim, b'leviyim, u'b'yisraelim. So this idea, this mida, this amount, this minimum amount, also applies to Kohanim, Leviyim, and Yisraelim. I want to bring you two different interpretations of what this means. First, we'll look at the Bartanura. Bartanura says, Mida zu de'ein pochatin la'ani. They're not allowed to give less than a certain amount to the poor person. He says, Amura b'kohanim, Leviyim, Yisraelim, kol echad mehem shemechalek ma'aser ani bagoren, lo yivchot mizeh hashiur. If the Kohen, the Levi, and the Yisrael, each one has to give ma'aser ani. So no matter whether it's a Yisrael, a normal Yisrael, or a Kohen, or a Levi, okay, in the Kohanim, remember the Kohanim are sustained by Trumot, and the Levi is by Ma'asot, but still, they still have to give Ma'aser to the Ani. So nonetheless, they also have these required minimums. The explanation of the Bartanura. The Kahati brings a different explanation. He says, he brings a few, but in the name of the Rosh, Rabbeinu Asher ben Yechiel, he says, that this Mishnah ba'ad davka lahashmiyenu, shemidazo amrua b'kohanim li'inyan truma, b'levi'im li'inyan ma'aser, u'b'yisraelim li'inyan ma'aser ani. So this measurement, so the Rosh says, it's not that they have to give, the Kohen, Levi, and Yisrael have to give, but they're the recipients. That just like when you give ein pochatin la'aniyim, so when we talk about the aniyim, these are aniyei Yisrael. That the minimum donation you give is to Yisrael. Similarly, says the Rosh, when you give the Kohen his truma and the Levi his maaser, you're also not allowed to give them less than these minimum amounts that we learned above for chatzi kav chitim, kav saorim, etc., etc. Which is a big chiddush because we can understand for maaser that there'd be a minimum, but we wouldn't necessarily think that there'd be a minimum gift to the Kohen or to the Levi as long as you gave the required amounts. According to the Rosh, comes along the Mishnah and says there are minimums for each individual. The Mishnah continues. Hayam atzil, you wanted to save some. I.e., it's very interesting. You don't have to give to every ani. If you have ma'aser ani, you don't have to give it all out until it's gone to whoever shows up. Rather, if you want to save some, you want to give here. The Bartanura says, "Ein matzil lechalek la'aniyim sheba'u kol ma'aser ani shebiyato, v'rotzel lahatzil mimenu likrovav ha'aniyim." You want to save some for your relatives, which you are permitted to do. Says the Mishnah, "Notel mechetza." So you can save half go to the anonymous aniyim, and half go to your relatives or to people that you know. You can divvy it up. You can designate tzedakah for the aniyim that you want to give to. Hayalo davar muat. Remember, we learned the minimums for each different kind of grain. What happens if you have a small amount and you don't have enough to give even to one ani or the aniyim themselves? Says the Mishnah. Notein lifnim. So there's you don't have enough to give all the aniyim. 5 aniyim are at your door, and you don't have enough to give each one the minimum amount. You don't have enough to give whatever. It's not clear. Notein lifnim. Says the Mishnah, you place it before them. V'hei mechalkim beinehem, and they divide it up amongst themselves. Okay, so you can and the Mefarshim say after you take your half. Says the Bartanura, im la'achar shenatam mechza v'yitzniach l'tzorech krovav. After you took your half and put it away for your relatives, then you only had a mu'at left. Nonetheless, that doesn't require you, even though you won't have enough to give the minimum to the aniyim that come to your door, that doesn't require you not to save for your relatives. You're still permitted to save for your relatives and have that minimum amount for them, and have the half for them, and leave the rest for the aniyim to divide among themselves. I want to dedicate this learning to the memory of my father. If you have any comments or questions, email me at rspolter@gmail.com. Have a great day.